let's go ahead and get started. And so now we're going to be talking about the Spring 10 apps features. And again, Seth Hillier, I'm with the Force.com team. I'm an evangelist here for over 3.5 years, and I'm joined with Viviana Padilla, one of our senior managers in product marketing. So we have a lot to cover, so let's go ahead and get started. So since this is a Spring 10 release preview webinar, it's only logical we're going to be discussing features that are not currently live, and some of these features may not be delivered on time or at all. So it's just important to note that we are making these forward-looking statements and make sure that all your purchasing decisions are based on our current features. And you're welcome to read this in its entirety at salesforce.com/investor. So in terms of our agenda today, we are going to be talking specifically about all the features around the Salesforce apps with Spring 10. And we'll start by talking about the Sales Cloud 2, then we'll dive into the mobile enhancements and the Service Cloud 2. And then we'll wrap up with some additional resources, and we'll also take your questions at the end. As mentioned, as kind of you guys did earlier, you're just going to want to go ahead and put those questions in the GoToMeeting panel, and then we'll be able to address these at the end. Also, if you just have questions overall about Spring 10 and you want to know where you can get the latest and greatest, definitely check out the release notes and definitely go to the discussion boards. You can always use the Spring 10 tag when you're posting. That way we know, and then we can respond to those as soon as possible. And like I mentioned, the webinars are being recorded, so this will be available in a couple days. So just look for that webinar follow-up email. Okay, so let's begin with the Sales Cloud 2, the world's #1 sales application. And I think it's important that everyone is kind of on the same page here. So just to quickly set context, I think it's important that you understand that Sales Cloud 2 offers a lot of value to your business. Sales Cloud 2 makes it very easy for businesses to have complete control of their sales and all the various activities that are involved. And your reps are going to love Sales Cloud 2 because everything they need to do can be done in one place. So whether they're doing like lead qualification or account management or opportunity tracking, or your management team wants to get reports and forecasting, they can do this all within the Sales Cloud 2, and it allows your business to be successful from day one. And what's great, if there's things that you need to tailor for your specific business, you can do that very easily. So with that, let's take a look at what's coming out with Spring 10. So we mentioned this earlier in the last presentation around the platform, but again, I think it's important to understand that the new UI in Spring 10 is going to be applied to all of the Salesforce apps, and it's really to give a fresh new look to the Salesforce applications. And essentially, we want to make sure that you can find your information faster. We want to make sure that the experience with a lot of our newest features match really well with this new UI. And it's something that you can opt in and opt out of. And so when you're ready, you can take advantage of it, and I can show you how to enable that permission. And it's going to be generally available, as mentioned. So I think some of the things that David mentioned early on, it's important to just reiterate. If you are a partner who's built an application and you want to make sure your application kind of has that new skin, all of the Visualforce components that you've leveraged using standard components that you normally get out of Visualforce will be automatically updated. So you'll get this new look and feel too. But in terms of functionality, if you have a different look and feel, none of your functionality will change. It will just be a different experience. And you can leverage different tags in the Visualforce to make your application dynamically present itself based on whether the user is using the new UI or the old UI. The other feature that we want to talk about is the feature Quote Sync. So last time we piloted the new real-time quotes, and this allowed you to easily create quotes off your opportunities, making your sales reps that much more efficient. And now with Spring 10, we're going to make real-time quotes GA, and we're including Quote Sync. And Quote Sync is a very important feature because, again, a lot of times in the sales cycle, your sales reps, they're creating multiple quotes. They want to maybe adjust their discounting or the different products or services that they're offering. And so your customer is going to want to get that latest and greatest quote. And so now with Quote Sync, once you enable this synchronization will automatically update the opportunity. And it's bidirectional. So anything you make on the opportunity will be pushed to that latest quote and vice versa. And management's going to love this because now all their forecasting and all their reporting will be up to date as well. So let me show you an example. So here I am inside Salesforce, and you can see I have the new skin. And again, just to reiterate the new skin, if you do want to take advantage of this, once you are in Spring 10, you'll see under the Customize section, User Interface. And you'll see a new permission here for taking advantage of the new user interface theme. So once you check that, you'll get everyone in your organization will see that. Okay, so with quotes, what I'm going to do here is go to an opportunity. And again, I'm a sales rep, and I've been selling a specific opportunity to Acme, and we're trying to sell them a couple hundred widgets here. And you'll see in this opportunity, I have a few quotes. And so what I want to do now is I want to create a few products. And so now I want to create a new quote that's based off of these products. So I'll go ahead and select New Quote. And this is, again, with real-time quoting, it's going to pull all that information into this quote, saving me a lot of time as a rep. And I can say maybe this is my final quote. I'm getting close to the sale ending, and so I know that I need to make sure that this quote will, last until the end of the month. And maybe I'm at a stage where I know it's about to be approved, so it's still like in the review stage. And if you see below here, again, all this information has been pre-populated for me, again, saving me time since there's that integration with quotes for the opportunity. So now that I have this new quote, if you see here, under my quote line items here, this object has all of the same products that was in that opportunity. And so if I want to, I can now enable this Start Sync. And once I create the synchronization, it's bidirectional, as I mentioned. So any change that I make will be seen in the opportunity. So let's say, for instance, I go down to this quote, and I'm talking to my customer, and he's mentioning that instead of actually having 5,000 of the server, 5,000 units, he actually just wants maybe 2,500. And so once I save this change will automatically update my quote, giving me a new amount that I would be able to pitch to the customer. But also now if I go, so you can see that here. And so now if I go to my opportunity, you'll see in the opportunities products list that the server 5,000, I've now reduced my units to 2,500. And again, the same applies in both directions. So if I edit the Windows servers, and maybe instead of 200, they actually want to get 500, make that save, and back in the synchronized opportunity, you'll see that. So once this page loads here, you'll see on the quote. A couple of things that I also want to mention too before I go to this quote to show you that synchronization. It lets me know what is the quote that is being synchronized by this flag here, so I can see that this is the latest and greatest. And again, once I go into this final quote, you can see this change has been made to the quote line items. And so you'll see now here, we go into quote line items. Windows servers have gone from the 250 to the 500.
Satya, it sounds like that. So Satya, it sounds like that's going to be the quote that will be shown immediately in your reports, correct?
Exactly, because the data has also been updated in Opportunity.
Fantastic.
So very powerful feature, and again, I think this is going to make your sales rep even that much more efficient and help them close deals faster. So go back to the presentation and talk about our other enhancement in Spring 10, which is the ability to brand your event invitations. And so it's so important that you be able to kind of, as a company, provide, branding awareness. And in sales, appearance can be everything. So your sales reps, they want to make sure that the meeting and the event invitations that they send out are appealing and that they're professional. And, they come along with the company brand and logo. And so with the branded event invitation feature in Spring 10, you can now customize this. And again, what's also nice is once you enable this new feature, you'll notice that the invitation itself has been updated with a new look and feel, which is a lot more efficient in dealing with these meeting invitations. So let me show you how this works. So let's say, again, I'm dealing with one of my leads here, and I want to give him a Spring 10 demo invite. So I'm going to just go ahead here and create a new event with him. Let me go ahead and create a new event and not new task. All right. So in my new event, I'll just call this Spring and Demo. And again, we want to make sure that we add him to our invitee list. Okay, so now I will send this. And let's check my email. So I've tied his email to me. And so over in my email inbox, if I quickly do a check mail here, you'll see I got a new email from my friend Tyler who wants to offer me a Spring 10 demo. And you can see in this email It's got their company brand they had used. I used the Spring 10 logo. And again, instead of me having to respond to this, I can click this respond to this request. It opens up a new page, again with the logo there, as well as a nice updated look and feel. And so me as the attendee, John, can say, yeah, can't wait. And save that. And then back in the record here, once I go back to that event, me as Tyler can see that, not only has John accepted, but he's really excited to attend my presentation. And so again, if you want to set this up, it's really easy. Under Setup, you would just go under your activities, and under Activity Settings, you'll see a new permission in Spring 10 where you can show the custom logo. And this custom logo is just something that you store in your Documents tab. And once you store it, then you can assign it. So really easy to set up. And our next feature that I want to talk about is all of our new enhancements to the emailing. And so we heard some of these in the last presentation. Again, I just want to reiterate some of them because I think they're so important, especially in sales and marketing. The first one is the ability in Spring 10 to preview your email before you send it out. And this one really hits close to home for me because I create mass emails and email templates all the time, and it's so important for me to be able to see what it's going to look like before I actually send it out. And before, I'd have to maybe create like a fake lead or contact and really just assign that email address to me and then send it to that person. So it was a little cumbersome. But now I'll show you how easy it is to do in the new version. Also, this is one of the highest voted ideas on Idea Exchange, was the ability to make sure that when you're sending an email from Salesforce, that it defaults to the type email in the activity history. And again, this is important for reporting too, because maybe your management team wants to know how of all the activities that have been tracked, which ones are email related. So once you check this checkbox here, it will make sure that any emails that you send outside of Salesforce, through Salesforce, will be logged of the type email. And finally, with Spring 10, we are introducing global email templates, which essentially allows the admin to create templates that can be used for multiple languages. And so even if you have different, if you're doing business in different countries, you just define with a special tag, what languages you support, and then all of the recipients will receive a template that matches their local language. Okay, so let me show you this email template because this is really cool. So again, if you ever create an email template, all you have to do is just go under Email and go under My Templates. And under My Templates, you have all your different templates here. And so I had one here. This is a template I create when I ever want to introduce myself to new customers that I've just closed, and I want to make sure they have all my latest and greatest information. So you can see here that in this email template, I have a contact merge field, an account merge field. And so I just want to make sure that when I send this out, the data is going to be there. And so instead of me having to go into a contact or a lead and send it, there's this new button here that says Send, Test, and Verify Merge Fields. So I select this, and all I have to do is just pick the contact. So let's say I send it to my friend Jim Halpert. And I'll just, if I wanted to, I could also check this checkbox if I actually wanted a physical email sent to my inbox. But for this demonstration, I'll just show you what you can do just by selecting this. And you'll see as soon as it's like OK, it's going to go and refresh this page. And it's going to pass in that contact. And so Jim was obviously parsed here. And then you can see the related account that he's tied to was filled in here as well. So again, a great way for me to just make sure everything looks great before I actually start using it. Okay, so that's a lot of the new enhancements with Salesforce Cloud, with the Sales Cloud 2. Now let's talk about some of the new things with mobile. Viviana?
Great, thanks, Sati. So I can't tell you how excited I am to announce the next feature called Mobile Lite. With Spring 10, every Salesforce customer can enjoy free access to Salesforce from a mobile device. And for everyone on the phone, Mobile Lite's a feature of ours that's been available for some time now. But what's new with Mobile Lite today is that, one, all of our 68,000 customers get access to Salesforce via a mobile device. And two, you now have the ability to create, edit, and delete records from any standard object. So those customers of ours that are using Contact Manager or using Professional Edition, everyone gets access today to Mobile Lite. So if you're a salesperson on the road and you meet a new contact on the plane, you can immediately enter that info on your mobile phone in real time. Or for example, let's say you're visiting your favorite account and need to update some crucial info, you can do it while on the go. Mobile Lite will help make your sales reps more productive and will help your service agents in the field decrease the amount of time a case remains open by arming them with crucial information. So next, go ahead, Sati, I think you wanted to show a demo Oh, actually, sorry, we don't have a demo mobile light. It's a little bit hard to show via the GoToMeeting. Okay, so the next feature I want to talk to you a little bit about is Salesforce Mobile for iPhone. So specifically for the iPhone, we have a new feature called Filter and Search. What it does is it helps you find the specific piece of data that you need much easier than you ever could before. So every tab and every list view now includes a new filter and search bar. So all that you have to do is start typing, and the list of records is reduced to those that match. So with the new Filter and Search feature, you can find all of your related records with just one click. And then finally, specifically for the BlackBerry, we have a new feature called Link to Records. With this feature, you can tap Salesforce links from your BlackBerry email, and the mobile application will automatically launch and show the record in the native app. Really what this does is it helps you find the information you're looking for much faster than ever before. And I know that I'm a BlackBerry user, so I'm really excited about having the opportunity to use this feature.
Yeah, I totally can agree with you more. This is one of the things that I'll be leveraging a lot in my BlackBerry. Plus, that is such awesome news about Mobile Lite. I can't believe that all editions now have access to this, including Contact Manager Edition.
Yeah, I know. It's great.
All right, so moving on, let's talk about the Service Cloud 2 enhancements. And again, if you're new to Salesforce or if you haven't had a chance to really experience Service Cloud 2, it's the application that lets you join the conversation. And today's customers, they want faster, more responsive services across all the different channels. Whether you're trying to, make a call into a business or leveraging the social web, Service Cloud 2 kind of brings all that together and allows you to kind of deliver it all. And it's the platform for the modern customer service. So, whether you want to make sure that you leverage, our call center or our knowledge or our answers or portal, you have everything that you need with Service Cloud 2 to provide the best support. And so with Spring 10, we have some great enhancements that I want to talk about. So our first enhancement is our features around our CTI, and CTI is computer telephony integration. Essentially, this is technology that allows you to integrate the interactions between a telephone and a computer. And so with Spring 10, we've released CTI 2.0 that allows you to customize the design of your CTI screen with clicks. You don't even need to use code, which is fantastic, and I'll show you that a little later. And your agents are going to love this because you can now display relevant customer information as soon as they get a phone call with our custom screen pops. And so a screen pop, this is essentially a way to display information that from a call to your agents as soon as they receive it, making their experience a lot more relevant and more productive. And so these custom screen pops with Spring 10, they can include Visualforce pages, or they can include these new object edits pages, allowing them to really quickly answer that question. And you can launch these screen pops in a new browser tab or a new window instead of just the existing window. So let me show you a demonstration. And in this demonstration, I'm playing the role of a support rep, and I'm with the, maybe like the post office. So let me go ahead here and log in. And again, in this demonstration, I get calls all the time as an agent, and people are asking me, where is the closest post office based on my vicinity where I live? And so because of that, my admins made it very easy by designing this, screen pop that I can leverage. So as soon as I get a phone call, so here we go. And let me go ahead and answer that phone. Ring, 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 ring. Here we go. Answer. And so as soon as I answer this phone call, that person on the phone may have either entered their zip code, or maybe as soon as I got their name from the phone call, it automatically looked at their contact information and said, hey, this person lives in the 94107. And so using this Visualforce screen pop, it automatically searched for all the local post offices nearby. Now for me as an agent, I can easily give them this answer, close that call, close that case, and move on to my next one, making me way, way more efficient than before. All right. And again, so to set this up, it's really easy. All you have to do is go under Setup, and under Setup, we'll go into Customize, and under Call Center, you'll see Soft Phone Page Layout. And so if you go under this guy and edit it, again, all clicks, no code. I'll go into some of these settings that you see under CTI 2.0, and so I can define, when the screen pop opens, do I want it to be an existing browser or a new browser? Do I want it to match certain records, and if so, or do I want it to pop a certain Visualforce page? And so that's what I'm popping is this Visualforce page that I have. And then, what is the action that I want it to do? All of these things can be defined, and I can even say, okay, maybe I don't want it to be a Visualforce page. Maybe I want it to create like a new account or a lead. I can just define that very easily. So you'll be able to define this based on your business needs. Okay, also in Spring 10 is our new entitlements and service contract. Vivian, I heard a lot of great stuff about this. Can you tell me about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Salesforce.com, in my opinion, really takes customer service and support to a new level with Spring 10. Now you can track the level of service your company is providing for customers with the new entitlements and service contracts feature. So what you can do in the application is you can set up entitlement management so that your support reps can verify if your customers are specifically eligible for support. Also, you can create service contracts for your customers and specify the service levels such as first response as well as resolution times. You can enforce service levels by setting up time-dependent rules that instruct reps on the steps they must complete in order to resolve some of their customer service issues. Also, the great thing about this is that you can run reports to see how your support team is performing against the commitments. So with entitlements and service contracts, you can ensure that customers are always getting the right level of support, and your agents can also easily identify opportunities to sell or upsell support offerings, and that's something that's really new. I think traditionally call centers tend to consider themselves as overhead or cost centers, and I think with this feature, what they can really do is they can start to sell and upsell offerings.
Definitely. Let me show you how it works. So again, let me go ahead and log in. And in this example, I'm a company that has lots of different entitlement and service offerings that I want to offer to my customers. And so again, with this new feature in Spring 10, this allows me to keep track of all the different service commitments I have for my customer. So for instance, let's say one of my customers is Evergreen Studio, and you'll see now once I'm in this account, I have some new related lists on entitlements. And again, this gives me the ability to know what level of service am I entitled to provide to this customer. And it can be things from, standard web support, email support, maybe 9x5 or 24x7 support. And I can easily dig into these as a rep at the company and say, okay, well, what does, gold 24x7 support mean? What is that? What are the different milestones and what are the different expectations I need to set? And so I can understand, early on that if this customer has this type of entitlement, I know exactly what they're entitled to and how long before I can resolve for specific cases. And what's great is on the entitlement, I can see all the different cases that are tied to this specific entitlement. And so I get, again, kind of a 360 view of the whole story here. And I can see on this case, how I'm doing. And so this case has this visual indicator that lets me know really early on, how long the case has been open. I can maybe filter down onto certain areas, like maybe I want to know what's been going on in the first 240 minutes, and I can see at a high level some details about this. Again, the idea being here that I can now kind of keep track of my cases and see if I'm kind of progressing forward or if I'm falling behind. And then assuming that I'm really on top of everything, I can then turn these entitlements into service contracts, and I can start selling this offering. And so, for instance, under my service contracts, you'll see that I've put together a variety of different bundles, and these essentially are all the different solutions that I might sell as a services company. And I can see that this particular service contract includes both my standard phone support and my Premier support. And I can also define what are the contracts, like how do I bill for this, and what is the pricing. And so I think the value here is, as a call center, normally, you are as a cost center. And so now this, with the entitlements and service contract, I have the ability to transform that into more of a revenue generating source.
So your agents really can sell different support level offerings, which is great.
Yes, very much so. All right, and so one of the other new features around our Service Cloud 2 is the Salesforce Knowledge update. So Salesforce Knowledge we released in our last release, and again, this gave you the ability to provide such a higher level of customer service to your customers, allowing them to really find specific support and locate those articles that made the most sense with the variety of different dimensions that you can leverage. And so with Spring 10, we're just opening this up to the partners as well. And so now you can integrate Salesforce Knowledge inside the partner portal, giving them that same type of experience that your customers were getting. Also, we've opened up the Knowledge SOQL and SQL APIs so that your developers can build custom search features around the Knowledge app. And they can leverage things like the data category filtering, or they can use knowledge features such as the custom synonyms or the stemming. And what's nice about this is you can build these types of queries, as you see here, where I can, again, specifically search on specific articles, and I can use this new with data category filter to find the data that I'm looking for. And finally, I want to talk about answers. Answers is, again, one of our new features of Spring 10, and I've been hearing a lot about this too, Viviana. What can you tell me about this?
Yeah, so Answers is a feature that we have been talking about for quite some time. And what we're excited to announce today is that it's now generally available in Spring 10, and it gives you a whole new way to engage your customer community for support. So one of the questions that we always ask ourselves at Salesforce is, and I'm sure a lot of you out there ask yourself, is what if your agents and customers could easily tap into the wisdom of millions of experts? With the new Answers feature, you can harness the expertise of your community right on your website or in the customer portal. So what you can do is you can now let your customers ask questions, other customers or your agents can respond, and the best answers always bubble to the top. So what that means for you is it means that your company can provide faster answers or your customers can find faster answers, which means that your customers will by default be more satisfied and you'll receive less incoming calls. This feature is very similar to Yahoo Answers. I'm sure a lot of you have used Yahoo Answers before. And if you've used it, then you know that your questions are oftentimes answered by the community and people vote on the best answer, and so what happens is that best answer rises to the top.
Yeah, so let me show you how it works. It's really cool, and just like you said, if you've used features like Yahoo Answers or LinkedIn Answers, we've tried to bring in a lot of those different types of consumer web technologies and UI and experience inside of Answers as well. So, for instance, in this example, my name is Grant Anderson, and I'm trying to do some research internally. And so I can use Answers either internally in my org or, like Viviana said, you can expose it through Customer Portal, and you can provide this Answers functionality to all of your end users and end customers. So let me just go ahead here and log in as Grant Anderson. And as soon as I log in here, I'll just go and click on the Answers tab. And you can see now I have a nice new UI that allows me to ask questions. I can search different categories around the answer community, and I can see some things that have been recently asked. So let's say I was looking, I'm trying to close a deal, and I'm looking for information on deals in New Zealand. And I can ask this question. And so once I ask it, what it'll do first is it'll search to see if there's similar questions, making sure that we're not getting duplicates, plus it allows me to kind of filter what's already been out there. But if not, I can just go ahead and continue here and just post my question and say, call me right away, and post that. And so now this will go out to the rest of the community, all the other Salesforce users. Whoever sees this can go ahead and look for it and then respond back to me and post that. What's also nice, though, is I can also see all the questions that I've asked before. So one of the questions I had earlier was, how do I log volunteer hours inside Salesforce? And so as soon as I posted this question, you can see here at the bottom, I had a lot of different responses. And me, as a person who posted the question, I can choose what's the best answer. And so Leon actually was the one who told me specifically what I needed to do. And so I not only liked it, but I made it the best answer. So now if anyone else is to search for a question that has to do with volunteer hours, they will see this question, and if it applies, they can quickly see this answer. Again, making our company more efficient and reducing any kind of support costs or support waste that you normally get when you're trying to find this type of information. So Answers will be a great feature with Spring 10 that you'll be able to take advantage of, and again, it's generally available. So a lot of things that we talked about, and I think it's important to understand, how do you take advantage of these features. With the Sales Cloud 2, all the features that we discussed today are all generally available. So you don't need to contact Salesforce. You can just get started right away. Some of them you can just enable by kind of checking a checkbox, which I show. Some are automatically enabled. So you'll just go through this list, and you can see how they apply to what you want to take advantage of. And with Service Cloud 2, same idea applies. There's all the features are generally available, so you can take advantage of them with Spring 10. And some of them require some setup, and some of them don't. So you'll just be able to use them at your willing. So we talked about a lot of stuff today, and I think it's important for you to know what's our one-stop shop for Spring 10. Well, it's developer.forest.com/releases. If you go to this URL, you're going to get everything that you need to know about Spring 10. You'll get access to our demos, the recorded webinar. So again, if you know colleagues that weren't able to attend, or if you missed something or you want to see something over again, you'll be able to access these webinars, plus our release notes and our documentation. Plus, we also have a link to our CRM community release page that also talks about a lot of the Salesforce apps features that we discussed today. I think it's also important to know that if you do have questions after the presentation, make sure you post them to our discussion board and use that Spring 10 tag so that we know and we can respond accordingly. And also just check out the release notes because there's a lot of great information there. So I definitely want to thank you guys for your time, and I want to start looking at some of these questions that you guys have been posting to the GoToMeeting panel. If you haven't, please post them to the GoToMeeting panel, and then we'll address them as soon as we can. So let's see. Any good questions that you want to respond to, Viviana?
There was a question that somebody asked about Dreamforce 09 content was announced as being free to all subscribers, and when is that happening? And so, we can't publicly release when that will be happening, but stay tuned because I'm sure we'll make a big announcement around it.
Great. I see a question here about the branded event invitations. Is it work in Professional Edition? Yes, this feature works in all the editions. So anywhere where you can create a new event, you'll be able to leverage the new branded events. Let's see what else we have here. So it's a question about quotes. Can you then create the PDF and email that PDF to the customers all within Salesforce? Yes, you can. And we showed this last release, but you could easily just go ahead and create that quote. And once you created it, there's a button there that allows you to create the PDF. And once you create the PDF, then it's stored, it's attached to that quote object, and so you could easily email it out. And what's also great is because it's stored within the Salesforce org, all your other employees who may be trying to help you with that deal, they'll have access to that PDF as well. So everything from within Salesforce.
We have a lot of mobile questions here. I think one of the questions was, I have mobile. Will I have to update my mobile light, or will it be auto push to my device? You don't have to update your mobile light. The feature will be the feature is basically the same, but what you'll get now is you get to create, read, edit, and delete standard objects. So again, it'll be automatic. The next question is, did you say mobile light users can now add new records and edit records? And yes, you absolutely can. So you can create, edit, and delete supported standard objects. Another question that we had was, what's the difference between Mobile Premium? And the main difference is that Mobile Premium supports custom objects as well, and there's more capabilities from a customization perspective.
Let's see what else. The entitlements and service contract, there's a question about, is the workflow module required for this? And I don't believe so, but I think if you're wondering, I think entitlements and service contract is for Enterprise Edition and higher.
Exactly.
Which
so you would
workflow. So
yeah, I do think workflow is required because if you think, it is obviously an Enterprise Edition, so that makes sense, but you also have to think about the fact that you want to use workflow to manage when somebody calls in, whether or not you've serviced them within the specified time period.
Right. Makes sense. Let's see what else. I know I always get a question about when will the new release go out, Spring 10. Well, if you go to trust.salesforce.com, you'll get the latest and greatest in terms of when we're actually rolling these out, and you can see what instance you're on and what day you'll get upgraded. All right, so I think that's it for now. And again, any questions that we get after the event will be published into the DFC and on a FAQ page, plus this will be recorded. I want to thank you for your time. Viviana and I had a great time with you guys. We hope you enjoyed a lot of the features that we talked about, and we can't wait to see what you do with Spring 10. Thank you.